What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to cover Bitcoin's chart, kind of go over some price action and talk about, where potentially we could be going. Is the low in? Are we going to go higher? Now, today, all in all, I would say price action pretty relatively flat. If we kind of look at last week's weekly candle, it was a bullish candle. It was a hammer candle off of a pretty significant area of support. Now that area of support is your 50 SMA on a weekly time frame. If you kind of look at the chart, all in all, big long consolidation, okay? Long consolidation here going all the way back. If I get the start of this like little breakout that we had here, February of last year, essentially had a year-long consolidation followed by the breakout in November, a blow off top here the week of January the 20th, followed by this nasty slow selling. So this is natural, okay? This is natural. This is expected. Anytime you have this long and lengthy of a consolidation, you have a nice breakout. A lot of people are extremely bullish at these levels out of 100,000, 105,000, 110,000, calling for 125, 135, 150 and beyond. But again, you have to understand the move out of this year-long consolidation is going to, about 9 months of consolidation. The breakout of this consolidation is going to be powerful. It's going to be extremely euphoric. There's going to be a lot of people that were making money calling for all of this crazy stuff. Now, I'm 1,000% still bullish on Bitcoin and where potentially we could be heading, but this pullback is necessary, okay? Because when you do get a breakout like this, you need to come back down, you need to test price. Now, personally, as much as it pains me to say it, I think that we're going to go a little bit lower before we break all-time highs. And the only reason I'm saying that we might go a little lower, which again is not the best to hear, because what it does is kind of just extends that finish line. It extends and moves that goalpost farther along down the road in terms of timeline. Because if you look at the highs here, going back to last year, high price of 74,000, high price of 72,000, high price of 72,000, high price of 70,000, okay? You kind of look at this triple top area, quadruple top area that we had here going back to last year. If I was to just, let's just put a line, right? Let's just put an area of resistance here, at least 3 touch points, 1 touch point, 2 touch points, 3 touch points. Let's just drop this line here. We got close to testing it, but no finish line, right? Like, we tested this rising weekly 50 SMA. We're starting a little bit of this consolidation bounce for the, maybe potentially an upwards move, but this is nothing more than a dead cat bounce. I think, again, in my personal opinion, it's probably better if we sweep 74, 73, 72, even 70, 69,000, and then have an immediate chain reaction where we bounce aggressively. Like one more capitulation bounce or one more capitulation low, and then you just see just monster buying come in off of that low. Okay, so one more just dip down below 73, 74,000, something around 69, 70,000, and then within 24 to 48 hours of testing those prices, you see an immediate big wick back up, okay, where you reclaim 74, 75,000. Now, the reason why I would feel like that would be a stronger move is because it does validate this as being support. This will be our new floor between, let's call it 63 and 73,000. That's going to be your new floor for Bitcoin. And any potential pullbacks is going to hold that area, and any potential move to the upside, you can kind of feel safe about having these entries. I definitely recommend that if you are dollar cost averaging, you want to be as close to this zone, dollar cost averaging, as possible, with even a potential sprinkle down here at 63,000, just in case we do get down there. Now, there is a very, very big open short position that's kind of going around on Twitter right now. A little bit of a battle here between bulls and bears, where someone has a very large short position and they're looking to cover down at around those mid to low 60,000, and currently aggressively adding more. Now you can definitely get this person to get squeezed out of their position if we start taking out some supply. If we start taking out supply of, let's say, last week's high, notice last week's high being at 85,595. If we can start taking out, let's call it 86,000, we've got an immediate run up into 87,000. Any close over 87,000, you're going to get a short squeeze. Now, I'm not saying that the short squeeze is going to start to take out 100,000, but you're going to get a very, very quick short squeeze all the way up to 90,000, maybe even 94,000. And again, that does not mean that the selling is over, but that person who has opened up that rather, rather large, or whether it's a firm, whether it's a group, whether it's a singular person, whatever's going on there, you're going to get them to get out of that position. Okay, at least some short-term covering on some of that position. Now, again, is that the reason why Bitcoin is being held and suppressed at these prices? No. There's a lot of other factors. There's factors with the tariffs. There's factors with a lot of things that are going on in the economy. We need to get these interest rates to get cut. I think once you start seeing those headlines that we are beginning to ease a little bit, and you're getting those rate cuts to come in, I think that's when you're going to get a flood of liquidity into the markets. I do not think that by any means that this bull market cycle is over, but I do think this is going to be, from high to low, where we pull back, it could be 25, 35, 45% of a pullback for an immediate reaction back up to the upside and a strong push over these all-time highs. I've got a price target at around 135 as being that first stop once we really start to break these all-time highs. 135 is going to be my most immediate price action target. But again, I've got targets well and beyond that, but we're going to get to those targets when we get to those targets, right? It's baby steps. We need to do one thing at a time. We need to confirm one area at a time. Right now, price action is bearish, okay? So this is consolidation. This is a correction off of these highs of around 110,000. And we need it. But a lot of times in these periods of times, people become very restless. They become extremely bored. They become extremely fearful. Like, again, when you have no projected timeline on how long this is going to take, it really just drags you through the ringer because you don't understand the bigger picture that is being painted, okay? A lot of people want very quick, very immediate gains, and as tough as a time as it is right now, especially if you're not even holding Bitcoin, but you're trading some alts, maybe you're holding some stronger meme coins, now is the time to double and triple down on those strong, high conviction plays for this next pop. Now, let's get into a daily time frame because I want to show you guys exactly where we could be heading on this daily time frame and why exactly we're bouncing. So if you look at that immediate push followed by that 2-3 month consolidation, and then now we've been, since we made those all-time highs in January, we're on about a 2-month kind of just downturn, right? And why we're kind of getting hung up in this area where it seems like the market wants to hold, we've got a very, very strong 200-day moving average. And if I was to zoom out, okay, and scroll to the left, you're going to see that the last time here in August, where we dipped below this 200-day moving average, we back tested it once more in September, and then once more in October, and then we had that big run. So potentially, this is our first test of this rising 200-day moving average. Right now, we are officially in a little bit of a dead cat bounce. Does a dead cat bounce means that we're just going to completely work our way up from here? Absolutely not. What you could definitely see is the first test of that 200 simple moving average be here. You could see a little bit of rejection around 87K and a little bit of rejection around 95K. So if we do dead cat bounce, let's say into 87 to 95K, you can still see that pullback come back and back test that rising 200 SMA once more, followed by another dead cat bounce, and followed once more like we did here, here, and here, which this process took 3 months. Okay, so 3 months. If you realistically look at this process from the first time we tested the 200 SMA on August the 5th, from the last time we tested the 200 SMA in October on the 11th. This was about a 2 to 3 month kind of consolidation back test of this rising uptrend before we exploded. So if this is our first test here and we're in March, maybe we get another test in it. Maybe we get another test here in the end of March or the start of April. We get another test in the mid to end of April. And then by May, this thing absolutely rockets. Again, when Bitcoin starts to rocket, it can really rocket. Again, coming into May and June, July, you could see some type of blow off top like that through all-time highs, which this chart now starts to make sense. So if you were to just analyze this chart, this looks like natural price action, right? Like this looks like natural price action, and then boom, a big explosion. What really doesn't look like natural price action, which a lot of people are calling for, is something like this, right? Something like this. Like that doesn't look too natural. That would cause for like some major catalyst, like, you know, they cut interest rates to zero and there's just an influx in just risk on assets right now. And we just completely V-shape and put in these new all-time highs. I think this is probably going to take the better half of 60 to 90 days to kind of pan out. And I think it's going to be something like this, right? Something like that, where then you just get that blow off in that, you know, kind of new all-time high. And if that's the case, we're about halfway through, okay? So if you've held on this long, whatever you do, do not sell here, okay? Do not sell here. Because again, I can guarantee you, you will be the one who is buying back right here. There's two type of people that are looking to get into this market right now and that are in this market right now. There's the people who are not in the market and are waiting for lower prices, which you might not get, okay? You might, but you might not. There are people that are waiting for the market to recover, right? And they're looking to get in up here, which is, in my opinion, stupid, because you're going to miss out on so much cash where you could have made all of this money in this range, right? There's big money to be made there. And you're going to just get in just far too late, and you're going to get in on that last leg up higher. And then when you do pull back, you're going to go right back to break even. You're going to wonder what the hell just happened. You're going to have to wait a whole nother cycle. There's the people right now who are holding crypto, whether it be Bitcoin or the other big 10, big 5, or some altcoins, some meme coins, and they're starting to panic and they want to sell. Definitely, I'm not a financial advisor, but my opinion and what I'm doing is I'm not selling out of my positions here. I will tell you that I am not selling out of my positions here. In fact, I am looking to dollar cost average in more. So the other type of people could be looking to just sit on the sidelines and just wait for this to recover because they just want this to get somewhere back up towards their average or a little bit in the green. They just want to sell out. I think that's the wrong approach as well. Again, to each his own. I believe in taking profits along the way. Again, but I do want to leave a big piece on the table. What I am personally doing, and I can talk about my game plan, is I did dollar cost average in here, and I did dollar cost average in here. Now that we're on this little bit of a dead cat bounce, if we fail to close over 95 to 97K and we start to come back in and we put in one more low, I will dollar cost average in one more time. And hopefully that's a price between 65 and around 73K. And I think once we get that break and once we get that final capitulation where everyone kind of throws in the towel and says, you know what, crypto is dead, Bitcoin's dead, it's going to zero, I give up on it. I think that's when you see boom. You see that immediate reaction followed by one last back test that creates a higher low. And then I think you start to really run. That looks more like natural price action to me. That looks like more of a natural solution, a natural outcome that could potentially be happening. Again, right now, if I zoom in on this daily chart, we are putting in lower highs. So we have our high here, a lower high here, a lower high here, a lower high here, and now a lower high here. Where does this lower high stop? Does it stop here at around 80 to 85K? Or does it get into 87 to maybe 90K? I could see that potential bounce coming into those areas before it kind of consolidates. And then notice the pullbacks when you do put in those lower highs. You know, this took about 4 days. Here's a lower high. This took about 5 days. This took about 1, 2, 3. And then you had a week's worth of consolidation. So if we do get into this range, you could see one downwards day, maybe one more green day, and then 3, 4, 5 days. Okay, something like that, where it just kind of flutters, and then boom, capitulation. And I think that timeline, depending on how fast we get into this range and into this range is going to determine when your 3 to 6 days of just downwards lastwards action happens, and you need to be ready to pull the trigger down in this range once we start to break. Here's a better scenario. Let's say we get into this range and we start to pull back now, and we don't put in a new low, and in fact we start to make a higher low where maybe you stop at around 77 to, well, let's call it 79 to 80K, and then you get the breakout. Now you get the breakout and a close over a prior swing high. That could be signaling to you that 83 to 82 might be your new floor for a move that starts to push higher. I think we need to still close over 95K to say that this downtrend is officially broken and we are now going to see all-time highs, but that's also a scenario. Again, just based on, the 13 years of chart work that I have from trading stocks and options and commodities and futures, to me, this chart looks like there's one more capitulation down. I don't really think that we go into a, 12-month bear cycle where this is just continuously going down. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of overreaction. I think it's going to take one headline, one thing to change macroly, where that's it. Boom. There's one more low, and then you just start to rise up. Kind of like the 2020 COVID pandemic V-shaped recovery. I think it's going to be something similar to that. And if you notice, even this, though this is just a drawing here, and I put absolutely no thought into this drawing, this would also create some type of inverse head and shoulders, right? With your neckline being around right here at 87,000. So that could be also something that you could look forward to. Look for that one more dip, guys. Again, I know it pains you. I know it pains myself to think that there's going to be one more dip. But again, we are putting in these lower highs and we are creating a little bit of a flag pattern here where if you do get rejected, you're going to break down. And I think that next breakdown, I would love for it to just happen overnight when I'm asleep. Like, I would love to go to sleep. I would love to go to sleep sometime within the next 5 to 10 days. Okay. I would love to go to sleep and I would love to see us trading at, let's say, 82K, 83K. And then I wake up and we're back trading at 82K, 83K. But during the time I was asleep, we actually dipped all the way down here into the mid to low 70s, and then it just absolutely reversed out of that. That would be fantastic, and that's what you're going to want to see. I don't want this dip to kind of like drag on, right, for 2, 3, 4 weeks, because then that just extends our overall timeline. A lot of us, are feeling some pain. Our portfolios are down. I get it. My portfolio is down about 30 on any given day, depending on the pops. Right now, it's down about 30%. 27%, but at when we were trading a little bit more down here and a little bit more down here, I was down upwards of 40% on my entire portfolio. But hey, it is what it is. We got to just continue to dollar cost average in. There will be opportunities here in the market to make money. I am seeing our 5-day moving average kind of curl up a little bit, our 5 SMA curl up a little bit. I would like to see it start to cross over our 10-day, which is sitting at around 83, 84K, and I'd like to ultimately see it get over 87K. That would give us a strong level of support and say that this uptrend can kind of keep on going. Ultimately, this is going to be a strong area of resistance right here at this 50 SMA, which right now I think it's sitting at 95K. Sitting at 95K, guys. For me personally, we got to close over 95K before I can say that this downtrend in selling is done. We can't call for a bottom until we break the downtrend. The downtrend does not get broken until we close over at least 95K. So this might just be a resting stop before the next leg down. Again, we'll have to see. That's my analysis on Bitcoin right now as it stands on St. Paddy's Day. Again, happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Stay safe. Again, I will see all of you guys in the next video.